Welcome back to LJL Officially Unofficial. It's time for our final match of the group stages. I say the group stages, the regular season before we head on to playoffs on Wednesday. One more game, and we'll be seeing our good friends from Detention FocusMe up against Sengoku. Let's head across to see who we've got on the lineups.
Oh my god, so we've got Van versus you. This is definitely the matchup that is honestly that my eyes are most allured to. You has been we've been using the terminology anchor a lot today, so I'm going to continue using it. You is the anchor for the side of Sengoku Gaming, especially with Aki on their jungler as well. Van has been a big important part, with Ree also really starting to flesh themselves out and actually come in. They were looking pretty sus early on, but as the split has gone on, they've really improved and actually surprised me a huge amount.
Yeah, and I also want to call out Nina for for Sengoku. They're managing to build up a pretty decent KDA.
They're clutch.
By the end here, as well as they're putting out a good amount of damage. It's the mid and bottom lane as you might expect from Sengoku, who are really doing the work.
Yeah, I mean, Nina is this really hot and cold player for me, personally, where I'm like, sometimes they can have performances where I'm like, oh my god, are Sengoku actually going to turn this game? At the same time, they also sometimes end up in multiple members, and I'm like, probably didn't want to be there, buddy. And that is kind of the coin flippiness that some of these players do find themselves in Academy. Remember, Sengoku Gaming are coming into this match as smart as underdogs because they are currently sitting with a 1-5 record. They were only able to beat Rascal Jesters, and this is their final matchup. And Detention FocusMe, they've taken some games from some of the better teams of Burning Core and Axis, and Rascal Jester. But at the same time, they've also lost to some of the better teams like the Hawks, CGA, and V3 Esports. So all to play for here to kind of shore yourself up.
Yeah, that's what we're looking into. We are going to end up in a very weird situation here if DFM win out this game. We believe we're going to have a three-way tie between three of our upper table teams. So hopefully, the mainstream which we're feeding off of will be able to give us an idea of what the final results will be as it comes to the end of the game. But of course, that all relies on Detention FocusMe actually getting the win here, which may seem likely, but it's far from a certainty.
Absolutely, and I think you've set it up perfectly. Whereas if Detention FocusMe win this, theoretically they jump to 3rd place, meaning they play 5th place. That would be the person they've just knocked down there, which would be the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks Gaming because of this win, which means they would have to play a best of 1 versus them. I mean, it gets very hectic very quickly. I'm terrified for a lot of these teams. This is nerve territory, and playoffs is also a best of 1. But this matchup specifically, Detention FocusMe should be the favorites. We should be coming into this one going, DFM should be looking to win this one. Sengoku Gaming are going to be the underdogs, and it is going to be that they're going to need to find something around the map which will actually help them play around this. And actually, I'm getting told that actually 3rd place will play Axis, so they actually get an easier time going into this one.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty huge. So let's get across to Pick and Ban and see what our teams have got for us. Certainly, very little to lose here for Sengoku. They have secured their place as not the bottom team. They won't have to play against the very top V3. Hey, it's a small prize, but it's a prize nonetheless. If the prize is you don't play V3 straight away, that's the prize worth having.
The prize is you're not quite last, but you're not quite first. Okay, well, we're somewhere in the middle, and I think that's how
reality here, Swan.
That's how Sengoku are going to be selling it. You're sounding more and more like Melvin Izzle every day counterfeit. It's
I only hope.
Okay. I thought we were Hawks for life, and they're currently in 3rd place. So we'll wait and see how that goes out. Bans have come out: LeBlanc, Lee Sin, Trundle, Ziggs, Aphelios, Camille, a range of mid lane, jungle, and AD carry bans. But Viego is left up. Obviously, Xin Zhao is still available. We've got Syndro is still around. Zoe. We've got a lot of the high priority champions still around. Think about Renekton. He's still out there. We've got Twisted Fate. He's still out there. Galio, Varus, there's still a huge amount out there. I'm very excited to see this. There's no way that's getting locked in, though.
Volibear would be an interesting choice here for Sengoku. Let's see if they're gonna surprise us. Yes, they will. It's gonna be Big Furry Bear Man against Small Furry Bear Man. I don't know. I'm trying to find a connection. They both got white hair. There we go. The Viego for TFM. I mean, that is... I mean, as much as we've got some question marks about the Volley Bear, that Viego has proven itself again and again. I mean, that suits his hands. Nearly 85% kill participation on the DFM jungler.
So... I'm not going to go in that territory that our producer is going in that direction, because I'm also trying to just kind of do the mental gymnastics. Leona locked in, obviously still keeping that 100% presence rate in the academy, or at least the highest presence rate. We've got the Frolidian bot lane that we have actually seen from several of these teams on patch 11.16 of this Ashe and Braum. This is something that we have seen for years, really, and it's interesting that we're seeing it come back. It does mean that potentially DFM are setting themselves up to play more of a poke composition, with the idea that Viego is reset city, but against an Ezreal, it actually kind of incentivizes them now to go in a different direction. And the great thing is, for DFM, they haven't committed fully to any direction of this pick and ban phase. They can still play very flexible. Sengoku, though, on the other hand, they're engaging. That's what you do with Leona and Volibear. You're wanting to go deep, and they're trying to think now what's the best anti-dive thing. Well, Tahm Kench is pretty good at that.
Yeah, just completely negate a play by using that Devour. So, as you say, it seems like Sengoku, they're throwing their cards down here. Again, for anyone who's just tuning in, Sengoku, very little to lose in this game, but a great chance to upset a big name team, as we will see Yone hitting the bench from DFM.
Wow, that's unexpected, but I guess, hey, let's start shoring up Ree's preferable matchups. We already know where our junglers are going. We already know our bot laners, so we can only target the other two laners. Ree has definitely struggled in some of the matchups. When we did eventually find them on some of their more preferential champions, I'm thinking specifically that Akali and that Orianna they've had. They've obviously got they've won twice on that Akali. They've looked pretty comfortable. I hope they're not going to play it here, because against a composition that dives, Akali doesn't have the greatest of times, so I'm expecting something like that Orianna to come out. Obviously, they can't play the LeBlanc because it's already been banned away. Syndra is still open, and that's something that very much would be worthy of coming out here, if you asked me.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we're certainly looking to see if that top lane matchup will get locked down before the mid lane comes out, though, and it seems that Sengoku have got that on mind.
No, they won't counter pick.
Surprise.
Yeah, and doing this allows them to get counter pick. I mean, hey, Renekton, for you, tried and true. We know that DFM and Van and you were going to have to get this, and it does mean that DFM do get the Gnar counter pick. So I would actually love, like, Gnar Syndra to come out here for DFM. Just lock it in, boys.
Yeah, well, we've seen how powerful that Gnar can be. DFM, they've got the chance to move forward here, to move out of the regular season with a strong record.
Okay.
We've seen the Java before. It's worked pretty darn well, but not what we were expecting here.
Yeah, and we've seen it from Van specifically as well, so I'm a little bit surprised. We've seen it do really, really well. We've seen it not do so well. They are decided to go for a different kind of... No! Go back to... No! No! You had it!
You broke one. You broke some good. It will be the Orianna, and going to be joining it together to form the trouble delivery system with the Jarvan. So one last choice for Sengoku. Will they bring out the legendary Teemo mid lane? No! It will start with a T. It's going to be Talia.
All right, I've now just been... I now, with this Talia, I have to ping several members of our Discord server, as they are Talia mains, but I will do that while we're loading into the game, because, hey, might as well let our viewers come in. Mid lane Talia. Okay. That was not a champion I was expecting to see. Did you, Counterfeit?
I'm just scrambling now to try and find if we've got any stats on Talia here, because
no one plays her. She's not played at the moment.
Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, hey, if Sengoku are going to pull off a surprise win here, which again, to be clear, they don't need this win because it makes no difference to them.
I mean, that's the point, right?
I guess, yeah, you can bring this out and say, okay, we're fighting from the very bottom. We are at least not the worst performing team in the league. And if you're going to finish off a season and say, we're going to do something in this playoffs, then this is the game to put out that signal to the rest of the league.
I mean, I'm what? Okay, all right. Well, DFM are going to win this game. That's for sure.
All right,
I mean,
Swan, if you've got a strong opinion of this, tell me, how are they going to win this game? Tell me the moments.
okay, so DFM have got a very simple comp to actually execute with this Jarvan. They've got a ball delivery service. Netsui can well, they're playing Jungle Viego, which is also the correct location to be playing him in a game. I insist that. They also have a very strong bot lane. If they ever get the concern of danger, I don't understand why you block in Taliyah when the enemy team has a Braum. It's a Braum. It's a Braum.
It's a Braum.
I will continue saying that Taliyah Q does nothing against Braum shield over and over again. It's a huge amount of the damage that you get from playing Taliyah is just being nullified through just small, tiny, minute things that all around the map that DFM have that I just really struggle to see. Now, the only way I can see this going really well for Sengoku, and it can, okay? It absolutely could. If they run over DFM in the first 10 minutes of this game. Like, if they just get an invade, Aki finds the invades, they find her from coming out, Van gets really far behind, actually gets solo killed by you. Like, these are scenarios that I'm saying that absolutely could happen. There's no kill pressure bot lane, okay? Let's just make that very clear. No kill pressure bot lane. So it's gonna be interesting to see. But I'm just not really sure if this is really the spot to put the Taliyah in. She has got cracked damage at the moment, but against a comp like this, there's no pick. And this isn't a poke comp either from Sengoku Gaming. Yeah. What do you think?
Boy. Well, I mean, yeah, as Melvin Izzle was telling us in the chat as our armchair analyst for today, though obviously a very impressive armchair. This is, as he was saying, this is a good setup for Taliyah here just against a bad team. And just to confirm, this will be the first time that Taliyah is appearing on the Rift in the whole of this Academy season. So this will be also 100% of our results for the pick as to whether or not it's a good choice.
I mean, Taliyah has only been played once mid in professional play and 20 times this season alone. This is summer, so this is summer. But yeah, this is not a champion that anyone would be playing in general, really. She's not seeing play just universally in a lot of matters. There's not a huge reason to play the champion. Though this is the this is the champion and this is a comp that's good for Taliyah. It's just really unfortunate that you're picking her in a spot where the enemy team has actually drafted a really good anti-Taliyah comp. It's unfortunate for her. DFM can kind of pick and choose their fights, which is not what Taliyah wants. And the fact is, DFM have really good disengage if they don't want it. Even in scenarios where it's like, oh my god, Taliyah might actually get a pick on Viego, right? Oh, Viego just ults over the wall that Taliyah just made to try and trap him in. Like, there's a lot of stuff. I'm very excited to see how this goes because I'm like, laning Faith Taliyah has not been something I've seen for a long time.
All right, guys, so it is time for our final game of the whole freaking Academy League regular season with the playoffs starting on Wednesday. This will be the last game that has any chance to influence the standings. Before we go there, a big chance here for DFM to rise up the table and be at the mercy of the tiebreakers. For Sengoku, they have nothing to lose here, but they can ruin DFM's day.
100%. As we come in, electrocute Taliyah. Well, I mean, obvious, actually. Like, that was my only expectation that we would go for Taliyah. We're going to be seeing a lot of lane pressure. And she's not awful at the moment when you do play her in solo queue. Actually, maybe I would have preferred a Dark Harvest. So there's kind of two options you can take with Taliyah at the moment. You can either go for the Execute and have kind of that burst damage, similar to what we saw previously in some other games with Execute champions. I'm thinking back to the Elise that myself and Middlecock cast over, because the damage was just so surprising in the early game. It really allowed her to kind of thrive and flourish. Dark Harvest is obviously far more for scaling, for obvious reasons. So obviously you get those Dark Harvest stacks, you get to get an extra little bit of damage, which can really help in the long sense of this game. And look at this poke damage already coming out.
Yeah, we can see Blitzcrank-chan is definitely on the fence about this game, which is, I'm kind of surprised. But certainly seeing the DFM on the right side of the power spike, particularly once we hit the 25-minute mark. So it does seem to fall in line with what you were saying before, Swan. These first 10 minutes are going to be crucial. They're kind of already showing that they are very comfortable with the ranges on this Talia.
I mean, this is probably a comfort pick champion. This is not something that I actually really had down too much on my notes, but that doesn't mean I'm going to have full information on every single player. Like, these are some players that we didn't get seen much for. Like, just remember, Talia was like the 3rd or 4th champion in my list of champions for this player alone that was signed a few weeks before Academy started. It's so hard to learn what these players want to pull out, what they want to pick, and what they want to fight and try and scrap over. We're seeing that right here, right now, as we've had one round robin. This is the final match, as you mentioned, of the regular season. And this is our first time having an Academy system back in the LJL.
Yeah, there's been a lot of other things along the line. As see heavy trade there, Aki coming in. Actually flashing for the play. It was a fake out. Nicely done by Sengoku, locking down the first kill at 3 minutes. That does seem to be adopting the trajectory you were looking for from Swan.
Absolutely, and I love that because it was flash from the volley bear into then flash from the Renekton to guarantee that Van wasn't going to have an opportunity to actually flash away themselves, because they chained the crowd control, they chained the stuns from both the volley bear and the Renekton. They get the first blood, they get the push in, and now Van is going to has to TP back in to catch that wave, which allows you to just walk back.
And Aki's back there again, so Yu's going to TP into lane because Aki's here for round 2. Flash still available for Van, but I think it's going to have to be burned early on. Yu, with the trying to get the follow-up of the evasion from the Jarvan pick, is too much to handle. The flash is taken, but nothing more.
That's perfect. That's great now, because now we've traded flashes. They have good timers. The side of Sengoku know that their flash is going to be coming up, so there's no reason now for the side of Aki to not just keep doing this over and over again.
Yeah, try it once if it works and keep going. As Van manages to escape away again, taking a lot of damage in that last trade though. Yu starting to exert themselves on this Renekton in the top lane. While we do see Aki, making a little bit of a roam up towards the top as well.
Yeah, and what's really important is Flag and Drag is on a very long cooldown of about 18 seconds. So the actual opportunity for Van to always be able to get out over and over again, as we see that lovely first blood play of chaining the stuns together. Van isn't always going to have Flag and Drag to get away. And even if they do, it means they don't have that to try and CS effectively. So what Yu is doing is just like, I'm just going to keep pressuring. I'm going to keep forcing. We're going to just keep pushing on you. As the bot lane of Sengoku Gaming are having a more difficult time, as a huge amount of pressure has been thrown topside.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is what I wanted to bring up, that as well as topside may have swung for Sengoku, down on the bottom side, it's terrible news, because Marimo is cleaning up on CS and poking Nina out of lane entirely. So it's all DFM down the bottom side. We've got a Mountain Drake for the taking if DFM can convert this bottom lane dominance into even more pressure.
But as it currently stands, everything's slowed down a little bit. Aki needs to go around and actually do their jungle clear now, because they did do a lot of camping in this top side. It's worked out rather well for Sengoku Gaming in this early portions. It's actually allowed them to have a minor advantage in this top side, so this Renekton is going to feel rather comfortable. However, it has now led to the fact that because so much pressure has been put to the top side, and they're going back again. They know that Flash is down Flag and Drag, but he does get seen because Van is just always looking down. He's terrified at any moment that that bear might be coming out, but that means Dragon goes over to the side of Detention FocusMe, and this is definitely a win condition because Sengoku know that they are on a time. There is a ticking clock slowly going down. Once Braum gets unlocked, suddenly Talia poke is going to become a little bit less impactful. When team fights start happening, Cataclysm starts to become really useful. The other thing is, this is lane Jarvan, so he doesn't fall off anywhere near as hard as jungle Jarvan. Now, the issue is, Lane has been pushed up and can't crash that lane because any moment they do, they know Volleybed's probably going to be there as they are back here again in this top side.
I mean, now there's actually a ward down for Van to at least be able to see this coming, but you're right, you keeping the wave up near the tower means that it's going to be difficult times for Van. I guess my big question for you here is, Swan, is, you know, if we're comparing how impactful the advantages are for each team, for DFM, bottom lane advantage, pretty major. For Sengoku, they've got the advantage up in the top lane. You know, which do you think is going to be most impactful for getting this early game going?
Bot lane. Just night and day. Bot lane for the side of Detention FocusMe. You've got an Ashok, you've got a Braum, you've got a 20 CS lead really at the moment. You can just keep pushing this as far as you want. Also, Cataclysm. It's just a really good ultimate. Just when in doubt. Also, the fact that we also had to go Executioners for first item for you as well kind of nullifies a huge amount of the gold lead that this Renekton will have in this top side, because yes, okay, it's important to get the healing to prevent that, and you are going to have to buy this item at some point. This early on, though, not really the destination you want to be if you are this Renekton. I understand the itemization. It just kind of sucks because it means the lead that you do have early on is kind of made less impactful, as DFM are just looking to keep securing all of the mutual objectives around the map.
Yeah, the goal is very even, as nice catch there onto Ree actually chunks them down to 1/3 health. Aki is a little bit off to the side here. You can see the vision is there in the back of the pit as the top lane brawl continues on, but the bottom lane of DFM have arrived, and that means this Herald surely goes across to them. DFM are maybe in a little bit of trouble here. They have to try and get back out again. There's the arrow coming through. The Volleybed ult. There's the Weaver's Wall dividing up the team fight. This is the thing that Talia can only do, but Cataclysm immediately in response. Fujimoto absorbing all the damage from the Talia, and it's Herald and the kill for DFM.
It's exactly as I put it down. That Talia wall went down. It's great, but it was Braum. That's the one man you don't want to leave on the opposite side of the wall. He's the man that goes, yeah, stand behind me. Braum is very good. I protect you all. He absolutely did a phenomenal job at protecting, but actually finding the pick as well. Oh, God, this is why I said this is favoring DFM's bot lane than the top side, because guess what? As I mentioned, Cataclysm is a very strong ultimate. Now, they did try and see how this the ultimate was going to go down, but then you've just got Braum and you're throwing in your initial damage. Cataclysm comes out, it's just chain combo CC, and the side is, I love this exhaust. This exhaust basically prevents Talia from actually doing and turning, because there was actually spot on the ground that Talia could have gotten multiple rocks off. Didn't have that opportunity because the exhaust was there, so they were going to deal less damage, and ultimately, DFM are kind of running away with this early game.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've got the lead now. They haven't even deployed that Herald as of yet. So the question becomes where that's going to land to try and get things rolling. Only a single kill from both teams so far. At Sengoku, they're going into DFM territory, trying to find a place to generate kill number 2.
So, we're coming back into a bit of a reset position. Now, the side of DFM does need to clear up topside, because there is becoming a little bit of a CS lead over for you at the moment, and I'm being rather kind by saying little. But this Renekton, even with a full combo that we just saw them execute, wasn't huge, and oh my.
Shockwaves onto Icanu there, but they have got help coming in short order. Ree is going to have to fall back for a second, but fortunately Fujimoto nearby for reinforcements. That was a very close thing, though. Icanu barely escaping.
I almost wonder if Aki should have maybe waited to show their head a little bit, because there's a chance that they might have been able to get Ree's flash if he had flash for flashed onto the Talia. They didn't go for it, obviously, and they just were like, well, we're just going to play clean. This Rift Herald is only going to get a few, well, just half a tap down. Does get a few turret plates down, but no one's able to collect it outside of Netsi, the jungler, so they get all of that gold onto the back of them, which is, hey, funneling gold into a Viego. Pretty smart move, if you ask me.
Oh boy. Well, speaking of objectives, we are just short of the second Drake coming in. See, Sengoku, they've got themselves very well set up to take this without reply from Marimo and the rest of DFM. You see the Hawk shot coming across, so DFM know this is happening, but there's nothing they can do about it.
Yeah, just reset late, got back onto the map effectively and able to secure the first objective. But hey, this is a pretty good spot if you are this Ash Braum.
We have got the Leona taking a lot of damage, but TP coming in from both teams. Azaki comes in from the side as well. The shockwave is avoided by a nice shift away. Natsui coming in. Of course, we know how powerful that Viego can be. 1v1. It's not even a contest, as Yu is too late to make the save. Will have to fall back. Pressure down on the bottom side tower. DFM building that lead.
Yeah, and getting turret plate gold as well. Oh my god!
This is the top blade brawler of Sengoku getting taken to school by Netsui and their divine Sundara. I'm starting to think, Swan, that people shouldn't be letting this Viego through because it's absolutely monstrous. Nice use of the ult there from you to stay alive, but that's the best they can hope for as Sengoku are driven out of the bottom lane. That bottom lane tower is still taking a ton of damage. Nice shield to absorb the true shot barrage. Sengoku, they are rocked.
They're not only rocked, but this Viego is just back in the topside jungle and they know they can't fight him. That divine Sundara, you put it so well, Counterfeit. It is an issue for this whole side of Sengoku Gaming because it seems like they've unlocked it. And while they spent all this time trying to shut down Van played this weak side incredibly well to a point where they're like, well, we've got Viego, and Viego is our actual, like, carry. The Jarvan is more the support for the carry. And that Cataclysm that came out, that is just an enabler. Because you know what? If you're stuck in a small little circle, you know whose ultimate's really good to go on a small little circle? Well, Orianna, obviously, because, hey, you're all in there with him. The other one, it's Viego. Reset City can happen. You can start stealing souls, throw out a bit of chain CC or just AoE effects, and then rinse and repeat. Just keep it going. Just keep going for days and days and days. Oh my DFM, I feel like you're starting to get a gold lead and you're not slowing down either.
So this is one of the things I love about seeing Jarvan, on any given team. We talk about AoE and their abilities, but Jarvan really sort of focuses on the really small AoEs.
Yes.
It's like you just combine this ultimate with so many other things, and suddenly what would be, hitting 1 or 2 champions under other circumstances, potentially can hit 3 or even more.
It's great also for getting assists to pad out your KDA. I might have been an abuser in the past, but I also might have been a Sona player. I also might have played a game of Yumi yesterday and got an S rank by pressing a few buttons and I didn't even realize. But look at Ree! What are you doing, my dude?
Shockwave will get him very low, but Akainu actually gets the kill back. This time it's their support who is there. We have got the Viego miss going through. Netsui is so incredibly strong. He comes in though and will be able to get the.
Wait, they're winning?
The shield is too strong to City.
What?
It's going to clean up the fight. The Weaver's Wall actually sends the volley bear across the wall, I think. But it doesn't matter. Netsui is ridiculous.
Okay, Viego officially. Actually, no, that's not even officially. Yeah, Viego's cracked. What? He's going for more.
He's never satisfied. We know how this fight goes 1v1. I have to think, well, we're getting into second Herald time. I always felt like we were getting into Baron time, given how strong Netsui was playing right there. But fortunately for Sengoku, it's not quite there yet.
No, and Ree actually played this fight really well. Now, they didn't have perfect vision on the side of Sengoku Gaming, but I love how they played this initial out. Obviously, they have got their jungle and support not far from them. Leona coming in and obviously makes this pretty awkward for them with that with the stun. It allows it for the Orianna to come out and get that kill. But hey, I actually thought that they were going to get that. Well, the Talia rather. But the fact is, this is a 2v3. And yes, a huge amount of damage has come through. And that Ashe ultimate was clutch because obviously it prevents the volley bear from continuing. But the fact is, they won this team fight and everyone's health bar is basically 100. Now, I know they had a Braum shield up, but oh my, a 3-0 Viego at 15 minutes almost signals doom for most solo queue games. The fact is, in competitive play, it's almost worse, I would argue.
Tell me if I'm wrong on this one, but it feels like taking a fight in, a corridor like they did there, where it's, that little corridor just above the river, against the Braum seems incredibly hard to win when you've got the Braum kind of blocking off the whole of the corridor with the shield, dropping down that glacial fish as well, filling up the corridor with crowd control, and then when you combine that with a massive damage dealer, I don't know what you do. Netsui is going to still be chasing the rest of Sengoku. They're looking to pad their stats here because the scouts, they're watching from the sidelines. We do have a kill coming through for you, but it's going to be punished in return from the rest of DFM. Nana managing to just crawl across the wall. No! Ri gets the kill, and Nasuti finishes off the job. Akainu is trapped alone with their tower and 2 members of DFM. It's going to be a short story. Akainu trying to buy as much time as possible, try and get a kill back. They do get that kill, but I don't think it's going to matter.
No, it doesn't. And that first kill that you thought that you got, it was actually just top turret. They got a turret. So it actually only ends up being a 1 for 4 for the side of Sengoku Gaming. They lose a tower in that bot side, so that ends up being a trade. Shirley's here. She's gonna help crack that second turret down. They also get this dragon. Oh my, DFM, they want this game to be over soon. They want it to be done well, and their 6k goal up, multiple kills. And coming into this is just, the fact is they played 2 team fights, opposite sides of the map, and won both of them. And that's kind of awful, because the fact is their jungle is in absolute no man's land, just winning. But then the rest of the team are all collapsing really well. Now, this was not a very good collapse onto Atelier. They should have waited. Everyone should have dived at the same time. This should have been a very quick effect. The fact is, it didn't go out anywhere near as it should have. Thankfully, they're able to reset with the turret aggro there because of how Viego works. So, yeah, weird spot to be finding themselves in if you're Sengoku Gaming here. The early game went really good topside, but it's just not led to anything.
I'm trying to think of this, and maybe the chat can help me out here. So normally, when you've got a combination with the Java and Cataclysm, you can come up with a name for those 2 things together. And in the last fight, we did see the combination of the Heartbreaker and the Cataclysm together. So I'm trying to think of what you would call those 2 things as an ability combination. I hope maybe one of the people
the
in the
Heart
chat...
of the Cataclysm? Heart of Cataclysms. I know what you mean here. I can see what you mean. I don't know, because this Talia might not survive. Oof.
These are the big questions we need to ask, Swan.
I mean, when you get to 6k gold leads, yeah, in a 18-minute game so far, these are the questions you start asking. Because, one of these teams should win. And if they don't win, you have more questions for the team that lost from this position than won.
Oh, for sure. I mean, this will be I guess in a world in which somehow Sengoku managed to turn this back around, it would be, an appalling outcome for DFM to have just short of players. But you don't need to be seeing many signs of that. Sengoku that's really sitting back, and every time they try and go for a fight, it goes appallingly, mainly because their city is ridiculously strong. 5-0 decides not to go for the tower dive, but has got their friends waiting in the wings to take that tower aggro. You drops down the ult, has got a double heal coming through. Nice divide and conquering with the Weaver's Wall, as you actually wins out of the fight. In Nasuti, they've got a bounty on the head, and they're not looking to give up that 600 gold.
Hey, that was pretty clean by them. The Talia actually coming in pretty clutch there. Like, that I'm going to give the credit over. Without Talia there, it's unlikely you can get that kind of kill. The same kind of champions that have the ability to rotate that quick around. Twisted Fate, Rise, Talia, Galio, I guess, but Galio's heavily signalized, as is a lot of these other ones. Talia's one of the only few ones that can come really through the fog of war out of nowhere with that wall and suddenly appear with a burst of damage. They played that really cleanly, but they need to find more than just the Jarvan, who honestly has been kind of camped this whole game. So yeah, he's not the one with the shutdown. You need to get the Viego, you need to get the Ashe. Not bad, but you need to get something else after it. Sengoku's still looking for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the legendarily the character who just does not care if they're behind in the Jarvan getting punished here. As we've got ourselves a next Cloud Drake coming up in just over 1 minute 30. The Baron is now officially on the field, and we've got a ridiculously strong jungler for DFM. You have to imagine that Baron has got to be pretty damn appealing.
Oh, absolutely. But also with this dragon being up in a minute 20, you don't want to make something that could be called a mistake on the Rift with that much time left for the dragon. It makes total sense now. Cleared the Baron Vision away that currently does occupy for Sengoku Gaming. Try and pull them over, get a pick. And if you can't get the pick, you just run down and do the dragon instead. It kind of is a two-way street. They just have the objective control. They know they're way further ahead in kills. They know they have the gold advantage. It's just kind of playing around these two things and kind of seeing where can you find the edge over Sengoku? What is Sengoku going to have to do? They don't have a Hawkeye, unlike this Ash, so it's going to be important. That's it.
There's the catch on to the Leona, but no kill being made here, and it's interesting to see DFM trying to go for the Death Brush strategy when they are the ones massively far ahead.
Well, it's not a desperation strategy. It's more just trying to find the Fnatic brush to just try and get that one pick because you can snowball something from that very quickly. I think we're seeing another one here.
Yeah, there's the catch onto Aki, who's trying to get away.
Oh my.
Again, it's a play for a flash, but nice move in from Akainu, who will be able to do a chunk of damage, forcing out the flash in turn from Ri. Akainu, we know if they can get mounted up on that surfboard, they are going lots faster, I believe. Minion Wave stops that movement. In from the side comes another member of Sengoku. They will be able to hold them still for long enough, and Akainu gets the kill. Finally, Sengoku make a play of their own. Surely can they even go for Baron?
No, they can't, because they already lost the flash on that volley bear. The other thing is they also just lost the dragon as well, so they don't even have that kill pressure. And yes, well done, you did kill that. You used so much. The Zonya from the Talia, the cleanse as well that had to be used. Leona doesn't have flash, or doesn't have exhaust anymore. They also had to use solar flare. So if anything, DFM are on the aggressive, and Sengoku need to get away.
It's going to be a pretty tough ask for Akainu here. Does manage to flash away. But they've got the hot pursuit coming in. Fujimoto buying time for Netsuti to close that distance. Hilal is getting caught and torn to pieces. It's a double kill for Netsuti. They didn't need any more kills this game, but they're going to rack up that KDA coming to the end of the season.
And you're asking about that Baron? Well, that's what's on the table now for Detention FocusMe kind of fit. And this was what I was saying. They had the aggression, and it was great that the side of Sengoku Gaming did find a pick, but it wasn't on the high priority target. It was this Orianna. It wasn't one of the hyper carries.
It's going to be tough to get into this pit. In fact, Yu is not even going to try to do that because they're taking the tower in the bottom side instead. Not going to be baited this time round. The Baron goes across to DFM. Just shy of 24 minutes. That gold lead is pretty ludicrous right now. Sengoku, the chance of an upset seeming smaller and smaller with every passing moment.
As we come into this replay, this describes exactly as I was pointing out that they were playing pretty far up. This Talia has no mana as well. Absolutely flash. Let's try and make sure has to flash away does this Talia, and then it's a little unfortunate that they're still able to secure the kill. The fact is they steal it, they knock the back with the rock, and Talia just kind of gets collapsed on. They die, and then she's stolen, she's heartbroken, she's ruined, and now I want to ruin Talia skin, and now I'm sad that wasn't a thing. Oh well. DFM got the Baron, and they're probably going to start knocking on Sengoku's base pretty soon, if they don't already.
Sengoku have been knocked down, not quite knocked out, but it's a pretty damn close thing, as that will be tower number 5 to DFM. Netsuti will get a little caught up here. The Solarflare doesn't quite fully land, will force out the Heartbreaker ult, as it comes from the back of the fight. The Java and all the crowd control in the world in one small space. Sengoku cannot stand, and they're going to have to give up another tower, it looks like, as well. That Braum shield has been a nightmare for Sengoku to deal with, and they've yet to find a solution.
Yeah, and then they just keep pushing. They just keep finding the opportunities. They got the tower in the top side, and then guess what? They were like, oh, well, maybe we can find a team fight. No, okay, well, we'll just rotate around. We'll reset. And then the moment they reset, they're like, oh, yeah, we still have Baron, guys. Like, we still have Baron. We got one of your members. We got your support, Leona. And now look at this.
Yu's going to get caught under the tower. One more shot's going to require it. But Ri is up to the task. DFM, as a unit, they're swarming all over Sengoku's base. This is only 26 minutes into the game. They're smashing down the inhibitor. Weaver's Wall will divide a tiny amount. In comes the volley bear. It's going to be quite the arse to get the kill. Shilo,
Look at him.
So low already. Nina is almost dead. The Ezreal damage is coming, but the revenge of DFM is swift and merciless. Everybody's dead, Swan. Everybody's dead.
Yeah, you might get Netsui, but guess what? You're not gonna get this game. Sengoku, DFM win commanding fashion, secure this up, and hey, looking at that third place spot.
Oh boy, you might get Netsui, but you went kablooey. At least for Sengoku, this is a game that ultimately did not matter for them specifically, but for DFM, it puts them into that three-way tie. And we don't even know at this point how that's going to be resolved.
Absolutely. We have our suspicions, but we are waiting to get confirmation from the official broadcast. It's going to be enthralling, but what I think is more important out of anything else is that DFM won that game in the fashion that they did win it in. Think about it. Van got hard targeted in this top lane. Like, was just AFK camped for the first 10 minutes. And it actually led to DFM getting advantages in multiple other locations around the map. And in turn, they got the first advantage. They also then were able to get their first dragon into first herald, which they then converted into first turret, which DFM were like, yeah, you can gank our J4 to like hell and back. We're going to find objectives. We're going to find opportunities. And they absolutely did.
Oh boy, I'm trying to draw out what we can say which went well for Sengoku up the top. So
the Talia looked okay. It did. The Talia genuinely looked okay.
I think you're right, Joe, and you and Melvin are definitely right here. That the Talia, it was the strongest part of what Sengoku were putting out in that game. So all credit to them. It may not have been the right circumstances, but as we see here, by the end of the game, I mean, it felt like there wasn't any question of who was going to win for quite a long time in that last one.
Yeah, and some of that just comes down to the fact that DFM got a very large balloon in gold advantage, and it's like, okay, well, that wall's really good at dividing, but the problem is Sengoku Gaming weren't ready to secure onto them. They then get this cataclysm, and then they're divided. And yes, it sounds great. You killed this Viego, but the problem was, one, they both got chunked down really low. Two, every other member of DFM was alive and has not 0 HP. So what some of these champions that they had an Orianna. Orianna's pretty good at jumping on people and actually helping get that extra bit of damage. And I also would like to commend Ree. His laning phase wasn't flawless, but he had a really good time when he started getting into solo bolo territories. He got a lot of people very low, and his shockwaves were on point a lot. It wasn't the 3 or 4 man ones. It was just very good 1 and 2 man ones, which, hey, you just want consistency to at least hit them most of the time.
No, I absolutely agree. As much as players will hold out for the huge game-changing moments, knowing that you can rely on your mid laner to get the job done in those small sort of bricks you can put together to build up your win, I think is extremely important. And I think this puts DFM into pretty good position as we come to the playoffs starting, of course, in just a couple of days' time, to be a team that people need to pay attention to.
Yeah, I just saw standings coming up on the official stream. I was very excited for a split second, but no, it's the standings that we know. But actually, we should probably have them on screen right now because, yeah, Rascal Jester, Sengoku Gaming, tied at the moment, like in last place. We know the head-to-head at the moment does favor Sengoku Gaming, so we have to be looking that they will be our 7th place team. But outside of that, there's a lot of packs going on here.
Well, yeah, as you mentioned, Axis, as much as they didn't surprise in the same way that their main team did in this academy season, they've at least were not on the bottom, as has been the case for them in years past. But yeah, that 3-way tie between the Hawks, DFM, and Burning Core is pretty remarkable, honestly. I think a testament to how competitive this league has been so far.
Absolutely. And I think now that we're just waiting to see how this will come out, I think it's about time that we get Middlecott back in on with us, even though we're just a voice, but to kind of talk about his experience and his thoughts on this Academy League, because we're done now with the regular season counterfeit. We've only now got the playoffs to come, and we know that playoffs mean positioning, means prizes, and everyone makes it.
Middlecott.
Yeah.
Are you here? Can we channel you? Oh, okay. We've successfully channeled you.
Okay. We're summoning him.
Okay. So what do you want to ask me? This divine producer voice. Obviously, I am ethereal. I am without form. I do not have a face. But I exist here in this world.
happened?
What questions do you have for me, my disciples?
I was assuming you had something to ask him as well as you brought him in here.
I'm more concerned that he thinks he's Arya right now. I'm a little bit like I'm a bit sus of that. But anyway, so that final game from DFM, what do you think of DFM coming in? Because that was one of the big question mark teams that we came into this with, because we saw them at the beginning. They looked so temperamental and unsure of themselves in spots. Certain members of their team didn't really show up. As they've gone on, they've definitely improved. What do you think that game from DFM versus Sengoku kind of gives us overall?
Well, I think we always need to caveat with it that it's going to be difficult to learn much from that game about DFM because I was playing Bloons Tower Defense 6 on my phone during most of it.
Oh, you.
But no, from the game, I think they are developing a bit more interesting strategies. I think Nasuti is developing into actually a very, very strong jungler and someone that exists as a carry threat. The Jarvan, I'm yet to be convinced of. Top lane.
Lane Jarvan seems to be better than jungle Jarvan at the moment in the academy, at least. That's the one thing I can say. Would you agree with me on that?
Yes, I would. As the casters on the live stream are actually waving goodbye, so I'm not sure whether we're ending the stream, whether a tiebreaker match is occurring. It's all a little bit strange.
Well, I think what we'll do, gentlemen, is we'll cut over to a very short break for a few minutes while we see what happens. If we get any news, result. If not, ladies and gentlemen, that will probably be the end of our coverage of the LJL 2021 Academy season. We'll see if we're coming back or not, but if you are, thank you for watching, and if we're not, thank you for watching. Either way, it's thank you for watching. We'll find out. Yeah, they're on breaks. They're playing adverts, lads. Like,